What's up, Flick Connection? This is Darren, and today I'm going to give you the top 10 thrillers currently available on Netflix. For those of you that are new here, welcome, and I'd like to start by telling you that I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about each movie so that I can give you a decent recommendation, but if I were to do that about all 10 recommendations, we'd be here all day. So I'm going to give you the bottom 5 of my top 10 really quickly. All right, and now that that's out of the way, let's spend a little more time talking about my top 5 on this top 10 list. And before that, I just want to let you know I am giving away another deck of cards. It's these really cool decks. Each individual card has its own design on it. They're all movie themed. There's Fight Club. So you can win that. All you got to do is be a current subscriber and leave a comment in this video. And after 4 weeks, the top comment wins the deck. All right, so let's get started. My number 5 pick on this list is Gone Baby Gone. It's currently available on Netflix, as all of these are. But this movie I really liked. Now, it's the directorial debut of Ben Affleck, who went on to win an Academy Award for Argo, even though he didn't win for Best Director. He won for producing it, which was, even though he didn't get nominated for director yet. He's really considered one of today's best directors. Maybe not in the top 10, but he's up there, even though his last movie didn't do too well. But he's a very good director, and this was a very good debut. He did this right before The Town, which in my opinion is an even better movie. But this movie was actually so good, they did not tell people. In the marketing campaign for this, they did not say it was directed by Ben Affleck. If you knew anything about movies, if you were up on movie culture at the time, you knew. But mass audiences did not know that Ben Affleck was the director. That was not part of the marketing campaign. In fact, when The Town came out, all they said was from the director of Gone Baby Gone. So that's kind of how good these movies are. Ben Affleck kind of has his own reputation, and they didn't want that to get in the way or cloud, people's opinions about this movie. So it's a solid movie. Stars his brother Casey, who's now an Academy Award winner. It's got a great cast. Ed Harris is in it. Amy Ryan. And if you haven't seen it, it's based on a book by the same author that did Mystic River, Shutter Island. So he's got some pedigree, but the movie's very well done. Ben Affleck does a great job. It's about a missing child. Don't want to give too much away, but it is a solid thriller, and if you didn't know he directed it, I think you're going to be really surprised. All right, and my only foreign film on this list is Amores Perros. This is a really fantastic movie. It's done by the same director who's famous now for Birdman and The Revenant, but this movie is about 15 years old. Fair warning up ahead, it is grim. I'm not even going to be able to show you too much footage here because it's I don't want to say it's gory because it's not, but it's very dark. It's very violent, but it's very gritty. It's very gritty, but it's very realistic. And essentially what it is it's kind of one of those movies where it's sort of 3 separate stories that intersect, which I actually do not like that format typically. I think it's kind of a cheap format. I don't think that it's done well a lot of times, but here it's done very well. It almost feels like an anthology at moments, like you're watching 3 completely separate stories that then have a very nice way of interweaving. But it's very gripping. It has not been on Netflix for long, and it's actually in the U.S. It's a movie that's a little harder to get a hold of if you don't have a copy. because of the graphic nature of it, it's like never on TV, so it's probably not one you've seen if you're not already aware of it. So I highly recommend it. It's solid. I'd go ahead and watch it soon because it may not be available on Netflix for very long. All right, and my number 3 pick is actually The Third Man, which, if you know anything about that movie, is actually featured in one of the cards that you can win if you win that deck. And this is just a really good, old-fashioned black and white thriller. Orson Welles stars in it. It's got twists and turns. It's kind of one of the earlier films to kind of be one of these twisty, turny capers, and it really still holds up today. I mean, if you've never seen it, it's got some twists in it that will surprise you. It's not like everything now is like a trope that you've seen a million times. It was done well enough that it's fairly timeless. It's held up really well. So if you're in the mood for something a little more classic, a little more old school, this one will not let you down. It's as solid as like an old Hitchcock movie. It really still holds up. You're just going to feel like you're watching like a period piece that happens to be in black and white. It's good. I don't want to, because there's so many twists in this movie, I don't want to give them away. But again, if you're in the mood for like a classic flick, if you're in the mood for sort of that Hitchcock twisty-turny type of thing, definitely check out The Third Man. All right, and number 2 is actually, I think, one of the best thrillers, certainly one of the best thrillers of the 20th century, and that's Christopher Nolan's Memento. This movie, I know most of you have seen it at this point, but this movie absolutely blew my mind when I saw it. I was probably 18 when it came out, and it turned my brain in a knot. I was trying to keep up with it the whole time. I had to watch it 2 or 3 times, like within the same couple of days, just to like wrap my head around it. It's so good, and it's really one of the reasons Christopher Nolan has the career he has today. Obviously, you know, Batman has a lot to do with that, but he may not have been able to do Batman had he not shown that he could really just like blow your mind with a smaller movie like this. So if you have not seen it, I'm amazed, but let me know in the comments if you haven't seen it. I'd be real curious to know who hasn't seen it, and definitely watch it. Like, I cannot recommend this movie enough. But it stars Guy Pearce. He's a man who has essentially lost his long-term memory, which means he knows who he is, he knows things like that, but he can't make new memories. But he's trying to track down his wife's murderer. So in order to help him do that, he keeps files and stuff, but he also tattoos all over his body, permanent notes that he wants to keep. And the real kicker in this movie, as cool as all that sounds, the real kicker is that the entire movie is chronologically in backwards order. So you're watching scenes that take place after one another. You're watching them in the wrong order, which is so interesting because you don't know anything as you're entering a scene. You do not know what has happened before, just like the main character. It's such a cool way to tell this particular story. It's available on Netflix now. If you've never seen it, you have to watch it ASAP. If it's been a while, if you watch it again, it's still going to blow you away how good a job Christopher Nolan did with this movie. And at number 1, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Possibly my favorite Coen Brothers movie, which says a lot, and easily one of my favorite movies of the 21st century so far, and that's No Country for Old Men. Now, this one kind of stirs up mixed feelings in people. I absolutely love this movie. I can't get enough of it. It is just a quintessential thriller. It has all the key elements you need in a good thriller. They're executed perfectly. And there's not much more else I can say about it. If somehow you've escaped watching this movie, watch it. If you have watched it and for some reason didn't like it, maybe the ending sort of threw you off, or you didn't really acquire a taste for that, rewatch it. Even if you don't like the way it ends, the guts of this movie are so good. The chase that makes up the bulk of the film is so fantastic. And the Coen brothers just really executed something that's just like pitch perfect here, to the point where I'm upset that they haven't made another movie like it in so long. But while I'm recommending this one, I can also recommend, like, if you love this one, obviously Fargo. Most people that have seen No Country for Old Men will have seen Fargo, but I'm surprised at how few people have actually seen their first film, Blood Simple. The three of those movies almost make up like this perfect thriller trilogy. So if you've seen No Country for Old Men, you're like, yeah, Flick Connection. I've seen it. Why don't you recommend something I haven't seen? Blood Simple. Cannot recommend that movie enough. I recommend watching all three, not necessarily in the same day, because that's a load. But watching all three of those, Blood Simple, Fargo, and No Country for Old Men, watch the three of those close together. It's just amazing at how good they are at telling sort of uh, this type of story. Love their comedies. Love Big Lebowski. Those are the sense of humor they have is fantastic. But man, No Country for Old Men just has it all. It's like I said, it's got the chase sequence that's so fantastic. It's got some amazing lines, great little scenes that just work so well on their own, that are so well just shot. And I'm not just talking about the cinematography, even though that's fantastic. When they decide to cut to things and when they don't is amazing.
Sir, I ain't at liberty to give out no information about our residence.
Where does he work?
Did you not hear me?
And if you've never noticed this, one of the most interesting things about this movie to me, I noticed it as soon as the movie was over and not a second sooner the first time I saw it. There is not a note of music, thematic music, that plays throughout this entire film. That's very, very rare. It was done on purpose. In fact, the Coen brothers are really known for their music choices in their movies. This one, there is not a note. All of the tension is built purely from the way that they filmed this movie, which is so rare. A lot of times, the movies need that help. They need that extra push from a composer to help establish the right feel, and that's totally legit. It works. It's necessary. Love it. But in this movie, they determined that they did not need it, and it plays so well. There's just this vacuum of sound at times that just tightens the tension. It just cranks it up to 11. So again, I'm rambling on this movie. Love it, love it, love it. It's available now. Go watch it if you have seen it. Watch it if you haven't seen it. Thanks for watching. If you're still here, please click the like button. I really appreciate it. It helps this video get more views. If you're new, please subscribe. I'd love for you to see some more of my content. I do videos like this regularly, and you will see me next time.